Speaking Human.
Today on Speaking Human, we applaud the most spectacular, strange, and surprising marketing efforts of the year with the highest honor bestowed by a podcast named Speaking Human, the Awesome Awards. Call up Chewbacca Mom and dust off your Pokemon Go app because we're about to send 2016 out with a bang.
Speaking Human.
Welcome to Speaking Human, where we simplify the world of marketing for humans. I'm Shad Conley, and I'd like to tell you what was awesome about 2016, but I just got back from having my memory of this year completely erased. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
That's a scary thought, A, getting your mind erased, and B, having your mind erased.
Is it scarier, though, than having to remember 2016?
Yeah, it's definitely more scary than 2016.
But it's close. You want to say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I guess anytime you're looking back, things can be scary. But not as scary as the fact that I'm your co-host, Patrick Jebber. And I believe, Shad, that the Awesome Awards shouldn't be taken lightly, that they should be cherished and given only to the incredibly fantastic and the divinely awesome.
Deep, dude. That is deep. On today's episode, we're talking about the best of the best. No, not the 1989 martial arts film starring Eric Roberts, but the best marketing efforts of 2016. Or at least the best as we see it through our unique Speaking Human eyeballs. We'll start handing out the hardware shortly, but first, Patrick, let's talk a little bit about 2016, both as a year in history and culture, and in terms of marketing. What did you think about this year? This was a crazy year. Do you think it was a good one?
2016 was actually much better from my vantage point than 2015.
It's hard for me to totally remember to make a comparison because I'm like, what even happened in 2015? Seems so long ago. I do remember when it came to putting together these awards, there wasn't a lot of stuff that blew me away.
Yeah.
When I was looking at things, this year was kind of uninspiring, both as a year and as a marketing year. You know, stuff happened, some of it good, some of it great. But, you know, when you take it all as kind of one big chunk, was it like anything that blew me away? Was it anything that I thought was like a giant leap forward? No, not really.
Here's the thing. Last year, I noticed that the awards were more one-dimensional. They were about a specific ad campaign or a specific marketing campaign, whereas this year it was much broader than that. You know, it was kind of like these giant efforts or these giant initiatives.
It was more on the micro, whereas maybe this year's more on the macro or something like that.
Yeah.
I think even maybe the marketing model is just, we're in the middle of it changing, you know, a move away from big brands, big agencies to smaller efforts and smaller agencies. So you're seeing those more sporadic efforts rather than these like huge concentrated campaigns that we used to see.
I agree with that.
Thinking about the year as a whole, though, I feel like every year I come in here and I'm kind of like, it wasn't a great year. What a terrible year. That's my role. I gripe about it. But 2016, pretty terrible year.
You're allowed to feel that way, Shad. You're allowed to feel that way. And, you know, I may not totally agree with you, but maybe I'll be able to change your mind. Maybe I will show you what's awesome in 2016 and you'll feel really good about it at the end.
We'll try.
I will. I'm going to do it. I promise. Well, enough of the appetizers, Shad. What do you think? Let's get on to the main course. It's time to announce the winners of the 2016 Awesome Awards.
Yeah!
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone.
You just heard a little slice of Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling, one of the pop songs that wallpapered our lives in 2016. And now we're going to talk about some of the marketing that wallpapered our lives in 2016 as we present our third annual Awesome Awards.
So for those who don't know, we started the Awesome Awards all the way back in 2014 as a way to honor not just the best marketing, but the standout marketing efforts, campaigns, and stories that, for better or worse, hit us on a human level, made an impact in our lives, and defined the year for us. So Shad, how did you choose your winners this year, and do you think it was easier or harder to choose than other years?
I think it was a little easier. It wasn't necessarily easier because there was so much good stuff that just stuck out to me, but it was easier for me to just whittle it down and say, well, I can throw this out. There weren't things where I was like, there were 20 different things where I'm like, oh, I need to get this on the list. So in that way, it was easier.
To me, like I said at the beginning, I think this year was easier. I have a different opinion on the year in general, maybe because I looked at it differently than you, and you'll see why in my picks. But there's just so many awesome things that have come and in some cases gone this year. What do you say we get into it?
Yeah, let's start handing out some awards. So my first award I'll be giving out, the best campaign to end an absurd power play by a certain international sporting event award. And the winner of that award is the Rule 40 campaign and website. This award goes to, you might remember this, we talked about this on episode number 65 of Speaking Human. This award goes to the campaign to get rid of the Olympic Committee's Rule 40, which prohibits athletes from mentioning non-official sponsor brands during the Olympics and prohibits non-sponsor brands from even mentioning the Olympics on social media. This campaign all started because there's all these athletes who have these, small brand deals, and they can't even talk about the brands during the Olympics. They can't go on Twitter and say thanks to the brand who sponsored them, through 2 years of training. They can't wear a shirt that says anything about these non-sponsor brands, even though they're kind of their life force, and this is that athlete's biggest time. They've been training for this for years. So they created this campaign, and the clever thing about it was the way they approached it, which was brands aren't allowed to talk about the Olympics. The Olympic Committee has threatened to sue brands, non-sponsor brands, who talk about them during the Olympics. So they created all this generic language that both athletes and brands could use to get around it and point out the just absurdity of this rule in the year 2016, in the age of social media, in the age of transparency where everybody knows this is happening, but we can't talk about it. So they put together all these things, and did all these social media posts, or they even had some swag like sweatshirts and backpacks you could purchase that said stuff about the generic worldwide quadrennial sporting event, just kind of creating this language where you're not saying the thing that it is, which I thought was really clever and effective. Messages like best of luck, you know who you are as you prepare to compete, you know where, points out the general ridiculousness of this rule and the need to change it. So I thought that was a strong campaign.
Yeah, it was a really strong campaign. And I love that it sort of comes in and it says, that's not cool. Marketing and branding, it should be something that the athletes themselves can take advantage of. Their own personal brands. And the fact that the Olympic Committee basically says, no, they can't, it's not cool.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. So it definitely, shines a spotlight on how marketing can be used to kind of compel change, and hopefully some change does come about it before the next Olympics. We'll see if that actually happens, though. What's your award? You want to hand out your first award, Patrick?
So yeah, my number 5 award is what I call the reinvention and proliferation of social order.
That's a good title. It's a good title.
Ah, yes. The title is more for show, but abstractly describes the pick. Okay, so here's the deal. Social media has gone through some major shifts this year, some more than others, and because social is so fluid, constantly moving, sometimes it's easy to overlook some of the more interesting progress. Look at Instagram, for example. It accomplished a lot this year. It now has over 500 million users, more than 500,000 advertisers. It made some much-needed changes to allow for users to have multiple accounts and allow them to switch between them more easily, to making it easy for businesses to manage their accounts. Good stuff overall. Then you have Facebook. Facebook Live launched this year to compete with pretty much every other social platform that's doing some sort of live video. And people are using it, experimenting, which is all any social channel can really ask for nowadays. Plus, Facebook owns Instagram. And then I also mentioned Twitter in a previous podcast, and it has had a lot of mixed press about how it will monetize the platform and continue to be relevant. But I love what they're doing with live streaming. Again, live streaming, live video is clearly the future, and how they integrated Periscope's features directly into the channel. Plus, they have live TV streaming, which is where I think Twitter is going to thrive in the future, if they could just get that momentum and use it to their advantage. And then we talked about Snapchat and their marketing efforts, and all I could say is listen to episode 71 if you want to learn a little bit more about that topic. And last on my list, but certainly not least, LinkedIn, which was snapped up by Microsoft for over $26 billion. And that's not reinvention per se, but it definitely hints at proliferation. So overall, pretty awesome year in social media. If only social media was a person, it could accept this award.
It should be a person. It might be our best award title of all time. So it's in the running for that award. That award could win an award.
Yes.
We'll see how the rest of the show goes, No, that's a good one. When you put it into that kind of overall context like that, you kind of really see that picture and all the change that is taking place in what I think is definitely a social media transition period, where we're kind of moving on to this next decade of social media and where's it going to go? What's it going to be like? Also a reminder, what a good award to give, I wish I would have thought of before this, would be live video. It's been a big year for live video. So that's another huge topic and a huge change that's coming and is no doubt going to influence the future of social.
Yeah. So what's next on your list, Shad?
My next award is the Blink and You'll Miss It Game-Changing Massive Mobile Trend Award. And that goes to, wait for it, Pokemon Go. You may have heard of Pokemon Go. Maybe you even remember it. Maybe you don't. But there was a time way back in July when the only thing people were talking about was Pokemon Go. It was on the news, there were articles left and right. It was revolutionizing gaming. It was revolutionizing mobile apps. It was revolutionizing marketing. This app was changing the world. And then, August, September, I don't know what happened. Pokemon Go soared to amazing heights, only to come plummeting back down to earth. And it's just one of those things, it's one of those pure trends, phenomenons that kind of happens, explodes, and then, the peak is so high, there's no place to go but down, right? So I don't know what the games or the app's user base is like now. I have a feeling it's significantly smaller than it was back in July, but it was definitely something that made a mark on this year, right? It had those 5 minutes that defined 2016 in a way, it was just one of those big moments. When we have I Love the 2000 Teens on VH1 in 10 years, they'll spend a good 5 minutes talking about Pokemon Go.
I'll tell you, it was a beautiful wave of hysteria. People searching for and catching little monsters that they knew next to nothing about, and was this year's Ice Bucket Challenge, in my opinion. And we talked about this on episode number 62, exactly 10 episodes ago.
We devoted a podcast to it and pronounced names of things we had never heard of.
I feel like most people couldn't even tell you why they were doing it.
Yeah.
They were just caught up in the hype of it all. And like any mass hysteria, it was gone before you could catch a Squirtle, which is, as you may know, a strange name for one of the Pokemon monsters.
Yeah, when's the last time, other than right now, you heard anybody talking about Pokemon Go?
Well, this is quite a coincidence, Chad, because I didn't know how else to put this other than this is also an award of mine for Pokemon Go, and I call it The Craze That Humans Forgot.
Another great title. It is, undoubtedly. So Pokemon Go, a double awesome award winner this year. I think our only other double awesome award winner in history was Google Glass last year, and that's doing pretty well now. So the curse of the awesome awards, right?
Oh.
To be fair, Pokemon Go had faded before it got these awards. So
Yeah, and it faded fast.
some great picks so far, and definitely some worthy award winners. But the best is still yet to come. We've got more awesome awards to give out after a quick word from our sponsor.
Today's episode of Speaking Human is sponsored by Monsters Unlimited, a creative agency with a business brain. When your business needs creative ideas that harness the power of the universe, think Monsters Unlimited. To learn more about some of the awesome things you can achieve with their help, visit thinkmonsters.com.
My next award is the social sharing app that left us too soon, but isn't completely going away award. And the winner of this award is Vine.
Oh, I know that was your favorite.
I got to give Vine some love at every point I possibly can, especially now that it's headed to the social graveyard.
There's a part of me that believes that you shed real tears when they announced that.
Oh, it was a mess. I got, drunk for like a week. I couldn't get out of bed. It was hard for me. It's been hard for me. So that's why this one last shout out, and then I'll never mention Vine again. Unlikely. But as you mentioned with your last awards, social networks, they're volatile. They come and go all the time. We've seen a lot of it. We've seen, things shoot up only to drop back down or disappear or get bought out or go away. And that's what happened with Vine. Twitter bought it, Twitter shut it down. But Vine stood out to me a little bit as a social network or as a social sharing app, just for its creative uses. Just by the limitations they created and how it was set up, it was just kind of designed to fuel this video creativity. If you wanted to use this, you had to kind of think of interesting ways to do it because you only got 6 seconds of video. So there was this creative element built into it that I always admired. I thought, was cool and made it stand out from the other social networks. Alas, it was a flash in the pan. It was never all that popular. It never became essential. It was in no way essential to anybody's social life. It was just kind of this niche thing out there that some were into, some weren't. That being said, there were some Viners who created some really cool things using Vine, and there were some brands like Lowe's and Oreo that did some of their best online marketing work there. I thought some really cool, interesting, and creative things came out of Vine. So, just wanted to give it one last shout out with this award. And, Vine's not going to die completely. Twitter has announced that Vine will live on as Vine Camera, an app that will allow people to create Vines to save or post to Twitter. So the capabilities of Vine, that creativity and the use of it will still be there, even though the community itself is dead and gone.
Yeah, that was a great social platform. There were a lot of great things about it, but the number one was the biggest that you had mentioned, which is the limitations and the confinement of 6 seconds really sparked a lot of great creativity within the platform itself. And that's something that I think sometimes is highly overlooked. When you do have limitations, sometimes you get better creativity than when you don't. I compare it to when, you have an unlimited budget in a movie versus a limited budget. And a lot of times limited budget movies have better creativity because you have to find creative solutions for things that otherwise you fix with money, like, oh, we'll just fill that in with CG, or we'll just do special effects here, or we'll just do whatever. I think sometimes you get this spark of creativity that is sometimes not possible when the sky's the limit. So I do like the platform for that, and I will miss that, Chad. I will.
Yeah, finding ways to tell stories in 6 seconds, which is impressive, right? Even most marketers you talk to, trying to get them to explain something, whittle it down to like the essence is hard. It's hard. It'll take somebody 5 minutes to explain the concept for an ad. But here you had 6 seconds, let's get this idea across. And they did it, which is interesting. So one last shout out for Vine with that award. RIP, even though you'll still be around in Vine Camera.
And I am sorry for your loss. So my next award goes to another craze that swept people up, and I call it the motionless capture of humans in motion. I'm talking about the Mannequin Challenge. If you look up the Mannequin Challenge online, Chad, it's defined as a viral internet video trend where people remain frozen in action like mannequins, while a moving camera films them, usually with the song Black Beatles by Ray Shremmerd playing in the background. And this one, really took hold in the latter part of the year and is believed to have been started by some students in Florida in mid-October. And like all great viral sensations, it adorned a hashtag mannequin challenge. And it really caught on once professional athletes and sports teams posted increasingly complex and elaborate videos. But I really liked this. It wasn't necessarily a marketing effort per se, but it does relate back to what we've said all along about video on Speaking Human, really playing a huge part in the future of social media, online marketing. And so how businesses can use things like this in their marketing efforts to really get people engaged with their business. What did you think of this one, Chad?
Yeah, another one of these big, blips that occur on the social media radar. It'd be interesting if someone like tracked the the past 10 years of social media and all these things that kind of become these like mini movements on social. And this was one of them. It was definitely a thing. And you're right, man. It's so cool that the way things stir people to, that's cool. Somebody did this. I'm going to try. I have my own idea for this. Here's how I'm going to do it, And then you start seeing hundreds and then thousands of these things, and it just kind of like snowballs along. It's very cool.
The thing is, like with this, it's not a specific marketing effort per se, but it is one of those things where I believe from an awesome standpoint, you've got things that are sparking creativity, like you said. I feel like it's an amazing time to be alive because of that. From creative people ourselves, seeing other people who explore that creativity and you see these things sparking that, it's a really cool thing for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the great, really positive things about social media in general. And, I definitely think it's part of the marketing puzzle because I'm sure more than a few brands grasped onto this and did this within their own social marketing. So it definitely, to me, falls within that marketing family.
Yeah. So what's next on your list, Chad? What do you got? What's the next award?
Oh, this is a good one. We're getting down there. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, the last few awards. So this one is the dead-on, down and dirty marketing that brought all the kids to the pool award. And the winner of that award, do you know what it is?
I actually don't know what this is.
The movie Deadpool, the marketing campaign surrounding that movie.
Ah, yeah.
This is basically, we talk a lot on this show about movie marketing. This is my favorite, I think, by far the best movie marketing campaign of the year. Beating out what would probably be my second best, Suicide Squad. Another quote-unquote subversive superhero movie. But what this campaign did so much better than that one is completely, effectively, and honestly echoed the tone of that movie with its marketing. You had this movie that was playful and fun and comedic and, like I said, trying to be subversive and subvert some of these superhero movie expectations. And so you had a marketing campaign that played all that up and really captured that tone. Just doing these kind of weird, wild, sometimes dirty things all over the place in a way that just sold people on the movie. It was a little bit sleazy and over the top, and that's what the movie was. That's what the character of Deadpool is. So we got things like, pictures of Deadpool posing on a bearskin rug, an email newsletter directly from Deadpool, a billboard featuring emojis of a skull, a pile of poo, and the letter L. Deadpool, get it? A custom set of Deadpool emojis, a social media feud between Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool even created his own Tinder profile. I mean, you had wall-to-wall, throw the kitchen sink out there marketing where they were just trying these things and, not afraid to fail, doing some risky things that just connected with people. And like I said, captured what the movie was. The difference between this and Suicide Squad was polishing a turd, They were showing you what you wanted the movie to be, something good, this great version of a terrible movie. Whereas Deadpool was just capturing what the movie actually was and kind of putting it out there and grabbing people with that. And the results, I think, speak for themselves, despite the fact that people weren't really familiar with this comic book character. And the movie was made for only $58 million, which sounds like a lot, but it's chump change for a superhero movie. Deadpool opened at $135 million at the US box office, on its way to $363 million total domestic gross. So it was one of the biggest movie hits of the year on a relatively small budget, and the marketing definitely played a big role in that. So Deadpool, another award winner here.
My favorite part of that award is actually the slam on the one who didn't win that award, polishing a turd. That's great.
That's another theme of the year for me, is slamming Suicide Squad whenever I possibly can, because I loved the marketing, sold me on the movie so much, and then I saw it and it was like somebody punched me in the face.
Yeah, you got gut punched on that one, I know. I haven't seen that movie because of the horrible review you yourself have given it.
There's no reason to watch it other than if you want to talk, you want to have like a jam session about how awful it is.
And you summed it up perfectly, that the marketing perfectly reflected the tone of the movie. It's a great award. I still keep coming back to the fact that you're comparing those two superhero movies, because we actually did like the marketing. We even talked about it from a poster standpoint, the movie poster marketing.
For Suicide Squad, yeah. I thought, I'll say that would be my 1 and 2 best movie marketing campaigns of the year. And they are similar movies in some ways in what they're trying to do. That's the comparison. I didn't just bring Suicide in to slam them. I was kind of contrasting the two and saying, what does this one do a little bit better?
Are you sure you didn't just bring him in to slam him? I think you could have probably left him out, but you didn't want to. You were like, no. I'm going to slam this.
Suicide Squad, another thing that made 2016 a terrible year. Thanks, Suicide Squad.
You almost didn't do these awards because you felt like they just ruined 2016. There was nothing awesome because of Suicide Squad.
I wanted to do the not awesome awards, but you fought me on it with your damn positivity.
You wanted to do the Suicide Awards where you actually just kill yourself while you're thinking about Suicide Squad?
Here are my top 5 ways to kill yourself.
Unsuccessfully, like this movie. So my next award, Shad, is devoted to 2 companies that are in a wild race for otherworldly glory. I call this award the Space Race with Universal Marketing Appeal. My award title is the most reflective of the award itself and the efforts. This award goes to both Tesla's Elon Musk's SpaceX and Amazon's Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. Now, SpaceX is a totally different company from Tesla, with the ultimate goal of enabling people to live on other planets, and Blue Origin is mainly a space transportation company. But what I find fascinating is that these 2 companies are very closely tied to what I'll call their sister companies. I don't know if you can actually technically call them that, but Tesla and Amazon will inherently get some of the benefit from their glory. And you see this because people can't distinguish the difference between SpaceX and Tesla and Elon Musk and Amazon's Blue Origin. So what I think is happening here is, as these companies are, launching these rockets and having these successful re-entries and landings, that I think that Tesla and Amazon are inherently getting some of the marketing benefit from that. And space exploration is filled with future glory, and it has so much potential in terms of overlap marketing to companies that aren't even necessarily tied to the rocket companies. So this award is for building an endless stream of future marketing appeal by investing in the future of humanity beyond what is currently thought possible.
Yeah, that's a great one. And those 2 companies in general are just 2 of the biggest innovators we have right now. So the fact that they're doing something like this, going to these, what you would think of as sci-fi regions of business, this is something you'd see in a science fiction film, but that's actually getting some legs now. These kind of space exploration companies like this that are doing these kind of amazing things. And I will say, space company names, SpaceX and Blue Origin, man, life is getting cool.
I know. Well, and here's the thing, like those 2 companies, right? I mean, we talked about Tesla in the past and Amazon too, like they're just both innovative companies. And the fact that these space companies, they really reflect innovation.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And, as far out as these efforts might seem, especially compared to what those main brands do there, it's still on brand. These brands are, like you said, about innovation. Like that's kind of their defining characteristic in many ways. So I think a lot of people look at that and it's just amazing. I'm in awe of just the very idea, that this is even happening. We've seen NASA kind of get cut off in the past few years or so, but the fact that you have these private companies like going into space and thinking about these different things, taking us to the moon, looking for planets to live on, it's amazing. I'm like, I'm just in awe of the people who can think this way and think this far ahead and do these type of things.
Yeah, just in general, from a marketing standpoint, these two companies right here are probably the quintessential companies that you would want to be mimicking in business.
No doubt. Two of the biggest, most popular, I think most beloved companies out there. So yeah, great award. Another great award.
So now this would be your last award, right?
This is my final award of the ceremony here.
Drum roll, please.
Boy, is it a doozy. You're going to love this one, Patrick. Talk about switching gears. So this next award is the Beneficiary of Unintentional Marketing, reminding us of the almighty power of an essential element award.
That is the greatest award title. I don't even know why you would say that my other award title would win anything. It's got to be the longest award title.
It definitely does. Yours was more succinct, probably makes more sense. Let me give it to you again. The Beneficiary of Unintentional Marketing, reminding us of the almighty power of an essential element award. And the winner of this award, Patrick? Fire.
Fire?
That's right. Fire. Sorry, Earth, Wind, and Water, but 2016 belongs to fire. After years of being extinguished, overlooked, and just generally disrespected, fire came back with a vengeance in 2016.
It took me a little while to figure out where you were going with that, and then it dawned on me.
Are you catching my drift? First, late 2015, early 2016, we saw hoverboards, a popular product and Christmas gift, spontaneously bursting into flames. Then in September, we saw one of the most expensive and highly anticipated smartphones of the year, the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, start bursting into flames too. Both of these products brought fear into the hearts of consumers and made a lot of trouble for the brands behind them. All the while, laughing heartily in the background was fire. The marketing message here is crystal clear. Fire is still going strong and should not be messed with. Not since the release of the movie Backdraft in 1991 has fire...
20 how many years? 20 years in the making?
25 years ago. Not since the release of the movie Backdraft in 1991 has fire had a higher profile than it did this year. Burn, baby, burn.
Well, that is quite an award. And I think one of the oldest living examples of marketing, fire, since the dawn of man, when we could make fire.
It's a big comeback. It's also the first time an element has won an awesome award, so that's something.
It's so very true, man. Like, honestly, brands can have failures like this. Big brands too, and how brands can persevere. It's definitely something that all brands should take note on,
Yeah, something surprising. Like that kind of major malfunction is not something we're expecting to see in 2016. So let's move on to your last award. And I'll tell you what, if it's a double win for fire, that'll be something.
Well, I'll say that it's not. But my number one award is what I call Alexa, Siri, Hey Google, oh my. That's right, listeners. We're talking about artificial intelligence. And it's been circling us all year, ready to pounce into our lives like lions on a gazelle. Maybe that's a little scary, but many believe AI is a little scary. So look, humans, we're all buying up automated assistants like crazy for the holidays. Google Home, Amazon's Echo, and be damned with the privacy consequences, which used to be the marketing concern for many of the companies advancing in this technology. Just recently, within the last week, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg came out with what he refers to as Jarvis, a personal assistant that is taking shape to be what some would call artificial intelligence. So my prediction is this, Shad, is 2016 is really the baby child of 2017, which we'll look back on as the birth of artificial intelligence. Baby child. That's just, yeah. So.
Baby child. I like that, though, and I think that's a good point. It's like this technology, everybody, clearly it's not 100% there yet, right? But just the fact that you have these bigs, We just talked about what an innovator Amazon is. Obviously, Apple in this space is huge. And then you got Google in there too. So they're all working to push this forward. Shows you what a big year it was for this technology. So that's a great award. And yeah, I'm expecting, in the next 2 years, maybe some big jumps ahead in this.
Yeah, well, and the thing is this. These are the big gifts of 2016 that people are snapping up. Like if you go into a Best Buy, you see Google Home is all over the place. Where was that last year? Nowhere. I mean, they were talking about it, but these companies have put a huge marketing push into home automations, which really are the birth of artificial intelligence, right? So
yeah, and these, little devices are how it starts spreading, how it takes that step forward, because how many people, it's such a great gift, like a Google Home or an Amazon Echo. It's that kind of thing that you may not necessarily want to buy yourself, but if someone gets it for you, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then you set it up and start using it. That's kind of how it proliferates, and then the technology just kind of gets built up from there once the people have it and are kind of embracing it. But yeah, it's a good one. A lot of good stuff. You had a lot of good awards that, maybe turned me around on 2016. Maybe it was all right.
that's why I said at the beginning, mine were very broad stroke, all-encompassing awards, where like a lot of times it's several different things within each award. How did you feel about that?
I think it's fine, though. I think what you did is you captured what was happening, the major kind of trends or movements that we saw this year. You captured what basically, it was a summary of what 2016 was all about. You found these little snowball things, and rather than honing in on one aspect of them, you were kind of focusing on the big picture, which I think is good. I mean, it's definitive of 2016.
When I was looking back at it, and I was thinking to myself, these are the things that are just super exciting about going into 2017. If this keeps up this momentum, we're going to have a lot of really fantastic things to look back on in that year, as long as they don't fizzle out.
They appear to be good stepping stones, and I have very high hopes for 2017. It seems like, we positioned in a lot of areas to see some pretty good things happen.
Yeah. So we've covered a ton, Shad, a ton.
Well, a year's worth.
A year's worth of awesome, as we say. And on that note, I think it's time we jump into our top takeaways.
My final takeaway of the year is a simple one. Keep cracking. Maybe you had some marketing efforts fall flat in 2016. Or maybe you didn't accomplish all or any of the business goals you wanted to achieve. Or maybe things just didn't go the way you'd hoped they would. Let it go and move on. There are more days ahead, and there can be better days ahead, but only if you make them better. Don't waste your time worrying about what didn't happen, and instead focus on what can happen. Years come and years go, but the opportunity to take action doesn't follow a calendar. It's in front of us every day. So keep trying, keep working, keep cracking. In the words of Penelope Cruz from the criminally underrated movie Vanilla Sky, every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. Take that chance. Keep cracking.
There's two things I want to say about that takeaway, and you're probably shocked that there's only two. One is that you referenced Vanilla Sky, which I love that movie, actually. I thought that was a great, highly underrated movie. The other is, I thought it was poetic that you used Keep Cracking, because I thought about making my takeaway Unleash the Kraken.
That would have been a good one, too.
No, great takeaway overall. Here's my final takeaway of the year 2016. If you can, climb a proverbial staircase or hop into a mind rocket. And when you get high enough, look down. Like two of my award winners this year, you'll be able to look down and get the big picture of what's happening in your business. We started the Awesome Awards as a look at the year in review to see what was successful and what worked within that year. And it's very similar to what I'm suggesting. Looking back, looking down, it's the same. When you do, you see with a sense of clarity. Some believe you need to get closer, you need to be inside, but sometimes it's about getting further away so that you can see what's really happening or what's about to happen. We all as humans are consumed by the day-to-day, the get cracking part of it, the things that keep the gears moving, and that's normal. It's necessary. But when you have time to review, it gives perspective that you sometimes can't see from the ground, from within the confines of your daily life. And that's my takeaway, and something that can definitely help businesses strategize and grow into the future.
Definitely a good one. And a nice summary of these awards and, just the year as a whole. Why do we look back on it? Why do we point out the things that were great to learn from them? To kind of take away, let's distill what was great about these things, and then how can we use that as fuel or inspiration for the year we're going to move into, It's about taking the best of what's behind you and using that to move forward as kind of a base to build off of, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, you already did in your takeaway.
Oh, yeah. I did say it better.
It was good stuff. It's good, taken as a whole, a great picture of 2016 to preserve for future generations. By picture, I mean podcasts that you listen to and don't look at.
Well, that's it for today's episode, everyone. You can find current and past episodes of the podcast on the new and improved speakinghuman.com. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes.
Email us with your thoughts on today's show, or let us know if there's any marketing topics you'd like us to discuss on the show. Feedback@speakinghuman.com. That's feedback@speakinghuman.com. We'll be back in 2017 with another episode of Speaking Human. Catch you then, humans.
Speaking Human.
I can't stop the I can't stop the